All right, here we are. Special holiday edition of the weekly roundup. Hart Investment Group. I'm Scott. That's Ben Hart.
Hello.
Ben, alone in the office again. Feels like on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
You are Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm Bob Cratchit.
Yep.
And we're just toiling down to the last hours of the market till they close, right?
That's it.
Just can't wait to put that extra lump of coal in the fire.
We got a couple 200. It's the 246th trading day of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And everybody else is home, not paying attention. And we're out here just looking for value.
There's always something to do.
I know. Right? That's exciting. Well, this time of year, why don't we start with that? This time of year, what is there to do as far as the markets and portfolios and whatnot?
Yeah, well, this time of year, always there's stuff to look at in the markets, but I think from a what's of interest perspective is there's so much research that comes out. Everybody and their dogs trying to decide where the market's going next year and the economies, and I have 40 different research reports here from the different houses, consulting, asset managers, private equity. Like everybody's got a 50 to 100 page document on where the world's going, and so there'll be a lot of that to go through and look at, and maybe you can help, or ChatGPT can help us weed through some of that. That'll be a good project.
Maybe, I can just see you Christmas Eve with a nice eggnog.
Yeah,
just leafing through the research, just getting ready. Just getting ready for next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there'd be that, as well as tax loss selling, cleanup, stuff like that. But primarily be going through the reports, and as I mentioned in a couple of the dailies there, I always got the annual outlook that we haven't picked a date yet, but we'll do soon for when that is in January, where we'll go into quite a bit more detail on where the market's going and what's going on. So the annual outlook's going to be in probably the third week of January.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did we look at this past week? What was on the agenda?
Yeah, so not much going on in the markets yesterday. The U.S. employment number was a little bit lighter than expected, but economic data is pretty dead. Volumes are pretty quiet. I'd say the only real thing that's kind of note, I guess, it continues to be what's going on with the listing of the Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock and the SEC met this week. SEC had BlackRock revise their ETF filing. So there's a period, I believe it's January 12th, where the SEC could potentially approve that. And ultimately, I think they were looking for BlackRock to be the leader in that regard. BlackRock manages $7 trillion and tends to have a lot of sway around what's going on. So I'd say that was of note. And if you look at some of the cryptocurrencies as well as the crypto stocks themselves, they've had a pretty good run this week as well. Yeah.
Oh, indeed.
Yep.
I don't know
if my are we back?
You're back.
Might have been the feed took out for a sec.
Okay.
So those things, I mean, I look at Coinbase, which, I was thinking the other day, we got to find and rewind the tape on that one, because there was a point at some last year in one of the roundups where I said, we're going to start to buy and acquire Coinbase after they had some pretty negative run-ins with the SEC, and the market hated it and hated them. As I look here on the screen here, we're showing just shy of up 400% year to date, Coinbase. So certainly like to see if we can find that tape.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when that was. We'll have to think about that.
Take a peek through when we bought and look
Yeah.
at the buys, and that'd be good to look at.
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we want to move to the charts here.
That's
Speaking
it. Let's
of the
do
charts,
it.
we had a look back here just as I put them up. And what did I say? 200. So we moved to the new daily format, which is a form of a blog post. So as of today was the 200th post and daily email that went out for the year. And as far as the charts are concerned, that represented what was it? 756 charts.
Woo.
We don't mess around.
That's a lot of data.
We don't mess around in Heart Investment Group.
We don't.
We
1
just-
year. That's good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Very good.
So we'll have to add to it next year. We'll have to come up with a new something just to add value to it. We have some
Yeah.
ideas, but we'll definitely keep it going.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we'll bring back the podcast.
Yes.
Start doing those. I know there's
Yep.
been need for that, so we've got some ideas for some new guests and whatnot. So I think we'll bring back that. That's a good. It's the unofficial announcement, I guess.
That's it. I had lots of positive feedbacks around the videos where I gave my kind of 2 cents or the 30-second update on the charts.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to revitalize that when we get some help with a new associate.
Oh yeah, new associate starting too. A lot of exciting things happening. Definitely.
That's it.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's your chart's live there, and we got your little video in this corner there too. So take it away.
All right. Well, as I've started to make my way through all this research, just giving you a bit of a sneak peek at some of the charts and things that I've been looking at. Be looking at like Price Waterhouse, Deloitte, BlackRock, Blackstone, Barclays, HSBC, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, all those different research houses. But what's kind of interesting and what's changed, as most of these think tanks do, is they've gone with their multiple scenarios. This one I thought was interesting. I can't remember if this is Barclays. I think it might be JP Morgan. This one's Fidelity. So they got the four scenarios with their highest probability is a cyclical recession. They give that a 60% probability. So interesting, the outliers, what does well if you get to tail risk, something happens good, something happens bad. But their consensus view is that we see a cyclical recession. So the bond market tends to agree with that because we've seen yields sell off dramatically. And so I thought this was a reasonable view that they had when they're showing around with the recession. Lots of talk this year that I had just about what's going on with interest rates and yields. And, I always get this question about what happens, when do yields start falling? Lots of interaction with the bankers, mortgage people this year. That was really kind of the big question. What happens to yields and when do they fall? So this was a great chart that says yields tend to fall once the Fed is done hiking. And about 2 weeks ago now, it was when effectively that's what Chair Powell said, is that they're done hiking. And so what we've seen since then, we've seen a pretty big move higher in bond prices than lower in bond yields. And so this is a visual just at least around how that's played out historically. And 2023 will obviously be added into this chart once it gets updated. But this is just a view around what happens to yields when they're done hiking, and effectively they said they are done hiking. This I thought was a cool piece just to think about the multiple kind of headwinds and tailwinds. This is KKR's report, which is their private equity manager. Always interesting just to think about how and how they look at things. So really one of the headwinds, a couple of the headwinds, is the some of the comments I made in the Daily today, which is around heightened geopolitics and issues there, government indebtedness. This is a massive topic. Actually, Steph Pomboy did an interview with Tucker Carlson yesterday, which was quite interesting, just around the government indebtedness globally. That's worth a watch. And suboptimal supply chains, again, that's continued to be on the backdrop of COVID and many other things. On the positive, I'd say tailwinds are some of the things we talk about a little bit, just about, industrial automation. So this is robotics and technology advancements, data and digitization, decarbonization. These are all some of the potential tailwinds that you should think about, particularly from the perspective of investment opportunities. The decarbonization, a lot of these companies, like Brookfield, Northland Power, things like that, got hit pretty hard with higher rates this year, seen a decent rally, but there's potentially quite a good opportunity in the infrastructure space there. So I've talked a little bit about what's happening, in my view, just around bottoming and so on and so forth. Last year, China was a good opportunity at the end of the year, saw a pretty nice rally, and then fizzled out as we got to the end of 2023. If you look at these numbers, GDP growth expected for next year, you look at CPI inflation, you look at unemployment rate and consumption. Interesting to think about what, if any, there is opportunities. I had a conversation yesterday with someone just asking me about growth. And you look at a company like Alibaba, which trades at, kind of 7-8 times forward earnings, versus an Amazon, which trades at 3 times that. And you think maybe there's some reasonable opportunity from a valuation perspective there. So that's how I think about what's going on with China and some of the growth that's happening. This came out of the Deloitte paper, and just talking about AI, cybersecurity, things like that. Are companies looking to spend in this space? So I'm not sure if this is a reflection of the economic activity, which is clearly kind of contracting right now. But it seems like that economic spend is expected to be small and potentially smaller than we thought. And so it's a bit surprising to me. So maybe some of that spend has already happened, particularly around cybersecurity. But this will continue to be a trend to watch, is what's going on with cyber and AI and so on and so forth. Quantum computing is another space where, obviously it's been growing ever so slowly since kind of mid to 2015, 2016. And if you're able to catch some of IBM's comments, they did a 60 Minutes just around where quantum computing's going and coming. And, one of the key areas that I think there's a lot of attention that should be associated with it is around healthcare, and how quantum computing can help make decisions, to think, and look for potential avenues that haven't been explored and thought of. And so, their present view is that quantum computing accelerates very quickly from here, and that provides potentially some huge opportunities, obviously some risks as well. But potentially some huge opportunities. So we continue to track where the opportunity set is at this point. So that's it for the charts of the day, December 22nd, 2023. But lots of exciting things, lots of changes going on. But technology, I think, is a big one.
Wow. You poured them on there right to the end, eh? Good for you. You love a good chart.
I do love a good chart. It tells a good story.
All right. Well, what are we looking at as far as next week's concerned in the market? Is it it's probably a pretty sleepy week?
Yeah, almost always quiet. There's been a few exceptions in my career, but likely going to be a quiet week. Nothing really material coming out in economics. We'll watch, but pretty quiet. I guess on Monday, of course, is holiday. Merry Christmas for everybody. And then Boxing Day, U.S. markets are open, but Canadian markets are closed. And then Wednesday will be the official last trading day of 2023. Of course, if you trade on Thursday or Friday, those trades settle in 2024. So from a tax perspective, Wednesday, the last day you can trade from a tax loss selling perspective. So it'll be a pretty quiet week, and then back at it January 2nd. January 1st is a holiday both in the US and Canada, but January 2nd, we'd expect things to pick back up and lots to pay attention to into January.
All right. Okay, well, let's wrap it up here. Any parting words for the viewers and the clients alike?
Last, as always, appreciate you watching, listening, appreciate the trust that you place in us to put you in the right spot and position you for what's coming on in the world. We continue to work hard to make sure that we're doing that and put you in a good place to succeed next year. And any comments, feedback, please send them along our way. But thanks so much for the trust you place in us.
Awesome. I echo those sentiments, and I hope everybody has a great holiday and a happy new year.
Happy holidays. Thanks.
See you next year.
Take care.